Listen up, the biggest military lie in history. World War II was not won by bombs or soldiers. It was won by a secret code breaker. In that terrifying era, Hitler held the unbreakable Enigma machine. Breaking its code was an impossibility. But one shy, unsociable mathematician named Alan Turing used his brain as his weapon and built a machine that saved millions of lives and gave birth to the modern computer. But what reward did his own country give this great hero? You will be heartbroken when you find out. Today we will hear the most secret, thrilling, and heartbreaking story of that silent hero, the mysterious life of Alan Turing. Childhood curiosity, drawn to the strange pull of mathematics. Alan Turing was born in the heart of London on June 23, 1912, to a family of civil servants. From a young age, Alan was a puzzle. While other boys shouted and played games, Alan was preoccupied in his mother's garden. He didn't just plant seeds, he calculated and kept accounts, how quickly each seed was sprouting through the soil towards the light. Every natural event was a mathematical problem to him. His teachers were often frustrated with him. He couldn't memorize traditional subjects like Latin or literature. His mind operated solely on the path of logic. He would ask questions no one else ever considered. If a person can solve a problem, why couldn't a machine do it? The turning point of friendship, Christopher. When Alan was 13 at Sherborne School, a new character entered the silent chapter of his life, Christopher Morcom. This friendship was the most important and emotional part of Turing's life. Christopher was also deeply passionate about mathematics and science. Alan realized for the first time that someone else thought just like him. They spent hours discussing the mysteries of the universe, the ability to think, and mathematical philosophy. But this joy didn't last long. Suddenly, Christopher tragically died from tuberculosis. Turing's world seemed to stop. He realized that physical life, emotion, and the body were fragile. Christopher's death deeply affected Turing and helped him make a decision. If life is fragile, I will dedicate my mind to immortality. Logic, math, and eternal ideas will be my refuge. This grief inspired him to dive deeper into the world of logic and pushed him to Cambridge, where his true revolution began. Mathematical explosion, the machine that would change the world. In 1931, Turing got a spot at King's College, Cambridge. Here, his genius finally took flight. All around him, there was only discussion of science and logic. In 1936, at just 24 years old, Turing published a paper that changed the world of mathematics forever. It was titled Uncomputable Numbers. The paper was covered in dry mathematical formulas, but the idea inside felt like a message from the future. In this paper, Turing put forward the concept of a theoretical machine which became known historically as the Turing machine. He proved if a mathematical problem could be expressed through small, specific rules, algorithms, then a simple machine with an infinite tape could solve that problem. Amazing fact! This theoretical concept was the first foundation for our modern computers, laptops, and even the mobile phone in your hand today. Turing designed the world's first computer blueprint at a time when no one even knew what the word computer meant. Turing became a legend in the world of mathematics and logic. But this mathematical device would soon be used in a terrifying real-life war. Dark clouds were gathering over Europe, and the Germans possessed the world's most secret machine. Enigma, the extreme battle to break the code. It was 1939. The German military was communicating using an odd and seemingly unbreakable machine. It was called the Enigma. The Germans were certain no one could break this code. They freely exchanged messages about their war plans, U-boat locations, and troop movements. The British government realized that to win the war, they had to break this code. For this top-secret mission, the country's best minds were gathered in a hidden location, Bletchley Park. And the main mastermind of that team was our shy mathematician, Alan Turing. Working at Bletchley Park was a desperate race against time and death. Turing and his team understood that the Enigma code changed every 24 hours. It was impossible for humans to manually test billions of potential settings in such a short time. They needed a machine faster than any human.
Turing's weapon of war, the bombe machine. Turing brought his Turing machine concept to reality. A huge, gigantic machine was created, named the Bombe. It was an incredible tangle of electromechanical wires, relays, and spinning wheels. The Bombe machine was a logical search engine designed to rapidly find the correct settings of the Enigma machine. It was effectively the first working example of a programmable computer in history. When the Bombe machine was turned on, it made a tremendous noise, but that noise held the secret to the German messages. Turing's invention reduced the Enigma code-breaking process to just a few hours. The hero of silent victory and the turning point of history. The Bombe machine created by Turing sparked a silent revolution. The information retrieved after breaking the codes was given the special name Ultra. With this ultra-intelligence, the Allied forces began to turn the tide of the war. Savior of the Atlantic. When the German submarines, U-boats, were sinking Allied supply ships, the Bombe allowed them to know the submarines' locations in advance. Turing's code-breaking saved thousands of ships and millions of lives. War shortened. Historians agree that without Alan Turing's code-breaking work, World War II would have lasted at least 2 years longer, leading to millions of additional casualties. Turing was the main hero of this silent war. He not only won a battle, but saved human civilization from destruction. Yet his monumental contribution remained totally secret. After the war, no one even asked him what he had been doing during that time. Turing silently returned to his research world as if nothing had happened. The birth of AI and a tragic end. The war was over, but Turing's brain did not stop. He began working on the practical implementation of his theoretical concepts to lay the foundation for modern computing. One of the first computers he designed was the famous Mark I at the University of Manchester. But his most important work came in 1950. He asked the question, can machines think? This single question gave birth to today's artificial intelligence, or AI. He proposed a test that is still known today as the Turing test. Astonishing fact, Turing began researching the workings of the human brain at that time. He was decades ahead of his time, when no one even imagined that a machine could one day talk or make decisions like a human. A tragic conclusion. Sadly, extreme darkness descended upon the life of such a talented and patriotic man. In 1952, homosexuality was still a criminal offense in Britain. Turing was arrested due to his personal identity. The government forced him to undergo an inhumane treatment known as chemical castration instead of going to prison. This chemical treatment had a terrible impact on his physical and mental health. The patriot who saved millions of lives was given such an inhumane punishment by his own country. His security clearance was revoked, effectively isolating him from his beloved research. On June 7, 1954, at the age of just 41 years old, he died after biting into a cyanide-laced apple. The most thrilling codebreaker in history who saved humanity had to break the code of his own life in this tragic way. The delayed honor for the silent hero.
Conclusion. For decades after Alan Turing's death, his crucial work remained secret. But the truth is never hidden forever. Slowly, as people learned how the genius of this quiet mathematician turned the tide of World War II, his importance became clear to everyone. Delayed pardon. In 2009, British Prime Minister Gordon Brown formally apologized on behalf of the nation for the injustice done to Alan Turing. Highest honor. In 2013, Queen Elizabeth II granted Turing a posthumous royal pardon. Symbol on the note. In 2019, the Bank of England announced that Turing's portrait would be printed on the £50 banknote, a symbol of the nation's highest respect. Alan Turing's life teaches us that with true genius, courage, and logic, the impossible can be achieved. But at the same time, this story throws a difficult question at society. Did we treat the man who saved the world fairly? He was a solitary hero who could break codes, but couldn't break the code of society's prejudice and bigotry. His life made our modern digital world possible. How did you like this extraordinary story? Be sure to let us know in the comments. If you want to hear more historical stories like this, stay tuned.